Yeah, what's up, everybody? This is Mike Reese, and welcome to another session of Let's Talk Show by Interlingua. Let's begin. And today we got a very interesting topic. It can be quite hard. It depends on your own experience, but growing up together. We're going to explore what it's like to share your own space, share your time with your siblings. Here in Mexico, it's quite common to have more than just one sibling. For example, I have heard cases that many people live in a house with probably five, six brothers. I mean, it's not all of them, it's not all the cases, but I'm just saying it's more common than what people may think. Me personally, well, I'm an only child, so I have basically no experience in that matter. But that's why we have our guests today, and one of them is Carmen Garcia, who has a particular case. Hey, Carmen, what's up? How are you?
Hello, Mike. I'm fine. I'm happy to be here again.
Good to see you, and thank you so much for coming back here at Let's Talk. Now, let's explore more of what we have for today. Yes, I am. It's just that, well, let's warm up a little bit, and let me share something to you and for our viewers. Yes, I'm an only child, and from a single mother.
All right.
Yeah, so that's why technically I didn't grow up with siblings. I'm not sure it's very. Everybody tells me that, oh my god, you were so lucky, or oh my god, like that sounds very nice. Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure, but everyone has their own experiences. Everyone has their own point of views. And I want to know a little bit about yours because you told me a couple of days ago that you happen to have a twin sister. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Since the day I was
Oh,
born.
pretty much, right? Pretty much. Are
Yeah.
you the same age?
Yeah, of course. No, actually, I am older. I
By a couple of minutes.
yeah. I
What
mean,
is
I
her
was just
what is her name?
Her name is Luz. We are Maria del Carmen and Maria de la Luz. I
Maria
mean,
del
like,
Carmen and Maria de la Luz. All
yeah.
right. Wow. So tell me a little bit when you, I don't know, when you found out when you were a kid that, oh my god, my sister looks a lot to me. What was your reaction on that?
Well, to be honest, I don't think I have an experience like that because I mean it's like I have lived with that all my life. But for example, I have a young brother. Right now
Oh,
he's 5 years old. I mean he's like just a baby. And when he was like 3 or something like that, he told us like, "Don't you think you are very similar?" And we're like, "Yep, we are very similar." And yeah, he was like very surprised. We were like almost identical, like our faces. And it was very funny because, I mean, of course, we never told him, like, yeah, we are twins.
okay. So it's only you, your sister, and your brother. No more.
Yeah, only those. No more.
But technically, I assume that there was a time in which all of you three were living in the same place. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, so him being the youngest and you being sort of like a teen. What was it like to? I mean, because I also assume that you took care of him. plenty of times? Did you do it together or did you take turns? What was it like that to be like the older sisters?
I don't know. I think right now I remember it like such a nice experience, because sometimes I miss them, like my brother and my sister. By the way, I don't live with them anymore, for those who don't know.
Okay.
And I mean, like, it for me in that moment, I mean, in the past, it was like something very stressing, like, to be honest, I didn't, or I don't know how to live with a kid, like
Oh,
how to treat them, how to play with them. I can play with my brother, but only
uh-huh.
for a couple of hours, for
Oh,
example. It's like, and my sister is like way more patient, and I mean they are. I honestly think like their connection is stronger. Number one because I'm not there anymore. Number two because also my sister has always been more patient with him. So I have to admit that I was never jealous of my sister, of course, but I was kind of jealous of my brother. I mean, not. I don't know. It was strange, because I was 15 years old. I was not like jealous, jealous, but I was like, I had a weird feeling.
what was the origin of that weird feeling?
Well, I mean, because a lot of things obviously changed in my life, in my house, when he arrived, like for example, something that I do remember is that, for example, in my family, we are the only twins. So whenever and my family, for example, I live in Puebla, my family lives in Mexico or Hidalgo. So when we visited them, my sister and I were like, so to be honest, like the most important, because everybody was like, oh, las gemelas, you're here, etc. And then, for example, when my brother arrived, it was suddenly him, like everything about him. And it's like,
Oh,
everything. And I mean, I was not jealous because again, I think I was old enough like to understand the situation, but I noticed the difference, and I didn't like it. And that's it.
and going back to the times where you as twins had a lot of attention from the family, did you liked it or was it annoying for you to be tagged like that?
To be honest, I liked it because I mean,
Okay.
we were always spoiled, by almost
Um,
everybody. Like, and to be honest, I think, and everybody says we were like very good kids. Like we didn't create any problems, that we were like obedient and things like that. So everybody was always like, as I remember, everybody was always happy of having us in their house. So I liked it. For me, it was great.
and what about for her?
I don't know. I mean, the only thing that I can say is that, for example, this love that everybody felt for us also was reflected in a lot of expectations, and that is the rough part. I mean, like not the rough part, but not like the not so great part, because um, yeah, everybody has even now a lot of expectations about my sister and I. So sometimes that is like, oh my god.
I understand. They set the bar very high for you guys, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
All right. Which brings me to this next category. Let's do this bit by bit. First,
Right.
differences. Differences. In what ways you are different from your twin sister?
Okay, I think we can start with the physical differences. That's easier, you know. I
Okay.
mean, we are identical twins, like the name. That's the name. But we, for example, I mean, she's a little bit taller. She's thinner. She has longer hair, you know. And it was very fun because when we were kids, she was like, I don't know, like stronger, you know, than me, for example. I mean, like, um, even a little bit of bully, you know, like my mom. I mean, we all fighted a lot because I mean, she would hit me, for example, and I would cry and everything. And then when we started growing up, like the roles somehow changed, you know, like for example, now she's like, I don't know. I wouldn't say she's like super girly, but she's girlier than me, you know? So it's like, I don't know. She wears, for example, I think, to be honest, you wouldn't ever see me, for example, wearing a yellow or a pink blouse, you know, for example. And she does that a lot, you know, like the makeup and everything. So I think that is maybe one of the biggest differences between us, you know, like there is always like we are a little bit opposites sometimes, you know,
Okay.
like
Different styles, different, also different focuses. Would you say, like, for instance, you told me you're studying art. Is she studying something related to it, or what is her occupation? What is she doing right now?
she's studying an engineering, but she also likes to draw and paint, and I mean she's pretty good. I mean, I honestly think she's good, and I think she has even more like um, maybe not experience, but like she deserves it more maybe than I, because I mean she doesn't study like arts at the university, but she still does a lot of things that I would have never done, you know, for example. So I really admire her because of that, you know, like she even has a little business with related to arts, which I don't have.
Okay,
So,
okay. Wow. Now, this brings me to the next thing I want to talk about. What about their similarities? Besides the obvious ones, in which way you guys are really similar?
all right. So, I think we are both like really, really, really sensitive, you know? Like, I honestly think we experience the world in another level, you know? Like, or at least talking about me, but I know that she also feels that. Like, yeah, only that, you know, like we are very, very sensitive about
Okay.
everything. And for example, well, we like to paint and to draw, and that was like something that we grew up with together, you know, when we were kids. And what else? I don't know. We are good people.
Of course. Of course.
Kidding.
Now, let's talk about a little bit about the myths that the general population has on twins.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies that when they show twins, they show them in a very like cartoonish way, or maybe a way that is not necessarily the real one. For example, my first focus. Is it true that you can finish each other's sentences or you can speak at the same time?
Yeah, that
Wow.
happens a lot. That happens a lot, like, and I mean, it happened a lot when we were kids, and it happens now, like many times we say something at the same time, and with the same voice, with the same rhythm, and with the same tone, like the same. And for example, something that also happens is that maybe, I don't know, if you are eating or something and you speak, normally the other people don't understand, and she she and I always understand each other, like it's like she says something that sounds like blah, 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 and everybody's like, what? And I am like, she says this, you know? So we understand each other like very well.
And can you like communicate without speaking, like like just staring at each other and know what the other one is thinking about?
Yeah, of
You,
course.
you can do that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, um, yeah, only that, like, and sometimes we go out of a place, like we are in a place, and then when we go out of there, um, it's like, I was thinking about this, and she says, me too, and that's it.
All right. Wow. So, myth number one, busted. Nice.
Yeah.
What about now? Myth number two. Is it true that maybe if you're feeling a little down or something hit you, emotionally speaking, the other one feels it too?
Well, I don't know if it's true, but I haven't experienced it. Like never. I mean,
Okay.
for example, if we are like face to face, I can see if she is happy or uncomfortable or angry or whatever. But I think that's just normal, But for example, at the distance, no. Like, no, I mean, so far it hasn't happened. Maybe one of these days.
All right. I mean, I want to say that I hope you experience it, but since it's a very bad thing, honestly don't know what to say.
I don't, I cannot talk about that, for example, because I haven't had that experience.
Of course.
But for example, my father has some friends. Well, he has now one friend,
Uh huh.
and they were twins,
Okay.
And one day they were like in a party, drinking, dancing, and everything. And suddenly, because he was only with one of the guys, and the one that was with him told him, like, you know what, I'm not feeling great. I want to go home, but it was like just in the moment. And then he went home, he called like his mother or something, and he realized that his brother just had a car accident. And like, and I mean, my skin is like feeling weird right now because the guy passed away, he died. And I mean, I seriously cannot imagine the feeling, like, I don't know. I think, like, of course, losing a sister or a brother must be like something very difficult, but feeling like that must be horrible, to be honest.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah. Yeah. I wish that to no one. So let's just keep it positive. All right. Ah. All right.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
you said something very interesting. Like, I mean, so far we have talked about your perspective and
yeah.
how it's like to growing up with your when with an identical sibling. But what was it like for your parents? I mean, did they feel funny about it, or what was it like to did you got mistaken for one another? What was it like?
Yeah. Well, my mom, I was also, well, when we were kids, we were also raised by a single mother, and the rest of my family, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, for example, my mom says it was easier to raise two kids the same age together, you know, because we would always play with each other and, like entertain each other, you know. And for example, with my brother, that he's like just a kid and he's only him, um, it's more difficult because he needs a lot of attention, and many times he doesn't have anybody to play with. So it's like, all right, like she says it was easier. I also think that honestly, I mean, she was like younger, she had a lot of people helping her, because we used to live in Mexico with my family. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, she says it was easier than now.
Okay. And going back to the myths of twins, m- I know maybe for being practical, I see a lot of twins in series, cartoons, TV shows that were the same or were the same thing. I mean, of course, nowadays you have you told me that you have different styles. You even like different colors. But when
Yeah,
you were kids, like, have you ever seen Rugrats? That cartoon?
yeah,
Tit,
yeah,
tit,
yeah,
tit, 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 tit. There were two twins. One was a boy and one was a girl, Philly and Lily. And the only way that you could like know who was because Lily had this little ribbon. But
yeah,
other than that, they had almost the same outfit, the same colors. Was that was that like? Did you guys went through that, or tell me, tell me, tell me,
yeah,
tell me, tell me? Tell me.
yeah. Of course. Oh my god.
That didn't sound nice.
No. All right.
Your cat?
Yeah, yeah. My god. Probably. Surely. All right. Um. Give me one moment to. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, of course. I wanted to know if you dressed the same when you were
Oh,
kids,
that's
because
right.
I see a lot of twins in
Yeah.
on TV and in movies that go like that, dress like that. They
Yeah,
dress the
yeah,
same.
we that happens to us a lot. I mean, it was mostly because of my mother. Like when you are a kid, your mom chooses your clothes, and that's it. But
Okay.
we have a lot of pictures where we are dressed exactly the same. Like, and it's difficult to tell who is who. Sometimes we see like the old pictures, and we are like, "Is this you? No, that's me."
Ah,
Like, yeah.
and what was the system to know who was who that your mother used, or how could she
I
tell who was who?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people used to confuse us. Like it was something very common. So I don't know. I mean, for example, she has always been taller. So when we were
Ah,
together, I mean, like one next to the other, you could see the differences. And that's it.
all right. Wow. So also in did you go to the same classroom? Hell, did you go to the same school? I think you did, right?
Yeah, and we were to the same. We went to the same classroom for many years.
For many years.
Yeah.
I all elementary school?
We were together until the third year of elementary school, I think.
Okay.
And then they separated us, and then in fifth grade we got together again.
Oh.
uh, that's it.
How did you feel about the separation?
It was horrible. I mean, they
Oh
tried.
no.
they tried to separate us when we were in second grade, but we cried so much that they didn't separate us. So they separated us until the next year.
Okay. You see, that's funny because a lot of boys that I went with in elementary school, they didn't want to be around with their brother or sisters in the same classroom, and it's curious how you guys, given your origin, did want to stick together. That's funny and that's very curious
Yeah,
and
I mean,
cute and cute.
when we grew up,
Hmm.
uh, we started to split apart, you know? And it happened, like eventually we didn't want to be together in the same classroom, and it never happened again, so it was not really a problem. And but yeah, I can remember that. Eventually, when we grew up, it was
Yeah.
like the problem, like why are you talking to my friends, and you're like, oh, but they are also my friends, things like that.
Wow. Okay. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, my dear.
Right,
If you want, you can go to see if your cat is okay and if she
right,
did something she didn't have to, because
right,
fortunately, I you may go see it and then come back because fortunately we have another guest, which is
right.
our dear Eric Rios.
Perfect.
So
Excellent.
yeah,
I'll be right back.
sure, sure. What's up, Eric? How are you,
Hello,
man?
what's up? Not much,
Yeah,
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm a little. I'm getting out from a flu, but I think I'm cool right now. Like I'm going back to my regular old me. Oh yeah.
That's good. Good to hear.
Thanks, man. No, and thank you so much for participating tonight. Let me see. According to my top secret information, your situations with your siblings is that you have two half brothers that you don't really are in contact with, for so to
Hmm.
speak. So, did you grow up as an only child, or did you grow up with some other siblings?
No, I have a sister,
Okay.
but she's 6 years younger than me. So when we were very young,
Uh-huh.
we didn't really get along. I was 12 and she was 6, or I was 16 and she was 10. So we didn't really get along very much
Okay.
until later, no? But when we were young, not really.
Since you were the older brother, did sometimes you had to take care of her? Like they said, "Hey, take care of the child."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if my parents went out to dinner or something, they asked me to take care of her, to stay there. But to be honest, I mean, I was just like in my room watching TV or something. If she needed something, then I went to see her, but I was not, like looking after her all the time.
So you weren't a fan or being the babysitter.
Yeah, kind of.
Ah, oh man. And I mean, when was the time in which like you guys really got along? How old were you?
That's a very good question. I think we started getting along when I turned 19 and she was 13,
Uh huh.
so I think that's when the age gap wasn't so noticeable, you know. And
Yeah.
then later on, when I was in the university, when I was, I don't know, like 21 and she was
15.
15, then we used to go to parties together, we used to do a lot of things together. Yeah.
You used to go to parties together, but I mean, did you were you like stranded or in a dilemma between enjoying the party and taking care of your little sister, or you just like let everything flow?
Nah, I just let everything flow. I mean,
Okay.
she has always been more responsible than me. So I
Oh.
knew that if something happened, it would be her looking after me. you know?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like
So
kind of like being the designated driver or something like that?
of course not, because she was 15, so she couldn't drive. And now I don't think she knows now, but now we always used other means of transportation, or a friend would drive, or even my mom,
Okay.
would go and pick us up.
What is your relationship with her currently? Do you guys see each other regularly or when?
Um, we She just moved in with my mother like recently, because she was living in Cholula, in Puebla, and she just came back to Mexico City, so she's now living there. So I didn't see her for months. I don't know, like 7 months or something, and we didn't really talk much. We just sent memes on WhatsApp and things like that. But now she's back, and I visit my mother every weekend, so I see her every weekend.
Oh. And okay, same question but divided in two. Besides going to parties, when you got along really well, did you do what other activities did you do together?
I don't know. We went to the movies. We we listened to music. We went to concerts together as well. I remember. Um,
Ah.
Actually, I remember very well one time. Yeah, I think she was 15, and we went to see Incubus in concert.
Wow.
And obviously, in that moment, I was in charge of her because it was her first concert, and I had gone to 10 concerts before. And all the crowd and all the people pushing and screaming and like that. So I had to take care of her.
Of course.
So the concert started, and seriously, in 2 seconds, she disappeared. I didn't know where she was, and I was like, oh my God, I have to find her. Obviously, that was not possible. No, there were a lot of people, and when the concert finished, the people started leaving, and I just waited until I found her there, and I was like very angry with her. Like, what are you doing? No, like something could have happened to you. Someone could have pushed you, and you could have fallen to the ground. And I don't know, but yeah, she was fine at that time. So yeah, we used to
Uh,
do several things together.
and do you do and now that you can see her every weekend, do you do anything in particular with her?
Not really. I mean, we both work a lot, so we don't have time to do things. And I mean, when I go to my mother's house, we just eat something, chat, maybe play some board games, and that's it. But we don't really go out or do anything else.
Mm. So it's just like having a good time, being in company with your loved ones.
Exactly.
All right, all right. And is it okay if I ask you about the two half brothers that and I quote You say you don't really know. Wow, what is up with that?
Okay, yeah, I mean, my parents got divorced, then my father got married again, and he had the first half brother when I was 18, and then 3 years later, he had the second one. And I left my father's house when I was 19. So, the half brother that I spent a long time with was a baby.
Okay.
And then I just moved out, and then was just doing my stuff, so I never really saw them. My father's wife is a little difficult, so it's uncomfortable to be around her. It's not that I don't want to see my brothers, it's more like that woman, you know and yeah, so I mean, now I'm 36, and my half brothers are 18 and 15. So the age gap is huge, and we have absolutely nothing in common. Um, Only video games, but we don't even play the same ones. And yeah, we know of each other's existence, but we don't really talk or anything.
But even through social media, do you guys follow each other?
I believe that their mom prohibited social media for them, so they don't have a Facebook account. They don't have
Wow.
anything. I mean, they have WhatsApp, but other things they don't.
Wow, wow, wow. And would you have preferred to uh, have a better relationship with them, like to be around for them? Or things that just fine the way they are, in
I
your
mean,
perspective?
right now I think it's fine. No, like they are already grown up. Maybe when I was younger, it would have been nicer to have these little brothers and play with them or something. But as things turned out, I think we're doing fine now.
But I mean, and after all, you have your sister, right? What's her name, if may I ask?
Her name is Geraldine.
Geraldine. All right. You mentioned something that you guys have in common. I mean, well, I'm assuming that you have similar musical tastes, given the fact that you went to an Incubus concert. What else do you have in common?
What else do we have in common? Um, Video games. when we
She's
were
also a
when
gamer.
Yeah,
Wow.
when we were younger, we used to play, Nintendo 64 together and stuff like that. And then we grew up, and the kind of video games that we like is different. So we don't really play together, but we talk about it.
You took a what?
We talk about it.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
you talk
So we
about
talk about the games and everything. You know that I use my bike as a means of transportation,
it. Yeah.
and she does too. Um, because I studied music, she learned how to play the saxophone. Um, what else?
What do you play?
I play the guitar and the piano and the
All
bass.
right, all right.
Yeah,
That's cool, bro.
yeah, it is.
It's very nice. Do you guys ride along together or have you ridden together with your bikes? Maybe in, I don't know, a certain circuit or through a park?
I mean, we don't do it as leisure activities. It's like our transportation. So yeah, we
Mm.
have ridden together to go to the movies or to buy something for my mom or something like that.
Oh, that's cute. Thanks. Wow. So, Carmen, Welcome back, my dear. Is everything okay?
I think so. I mean, she threw something down, but I think it didn't break. So
I hope it didn't. I hope
I
it
hope
didn't.
to. Yeah.
So, I previously, well, I asked you to please hold a thought because I wanted to talk up a little bit like that. And that would bring me to Eric again. This question is kind of like for you, but you will get it. You will get it. First of all, Carmen, you and your sister obviously have the same age. You went to the same school and you were through the same classrooms.
Yeah.
Your friends, did you have the same friends, or there was a time in like one had a little group and the other one had a whole different group of friends?
Yeah. When we were kids, I mean, maybe before 10 years old, when
Yeah.
we were 9, 8, things like that, we had like the same friends, like because we were in the same classroom. But then, like every time we were in a different group, we had like different friends, and they were like extremely different. I remember like a couple of months ago, I went to an expo with her. I mean, we participated in the expo, and I mean, my friends went to visit me, and her friends went to visit her, of course. And it was like very fun, because, I mean, to be honest, when I am with my friends, we are like three people, and we look pretty weird, like a little bit like weirdos. I mean,
Okay.
and I mean, it was very fun because we were sitting together. I mean, the three of us in two chairs like this. And I mean, for example, I have a girlfriend and a boyfriend, right? And the girl is like pretty like goth, but like, I don't know, she has a very particular style, and so does the boy, right? And when I am with them, when I go out with them, I also like get dressed a little bit, not different, but like with more style. So then I saw my sister and her friends, and
Uh,
they were all like very, I don't know. For me, they honestly looked a little bit like white chickens. Like,
oh.
yeah, I mean, and it was so strange, like they were all like very fresas, we say in Spanish.
Yeah.
And my friends and I looked at them, and we were like, what is going on? It was like something very, very strange. I mean, that is the one of the moments where you can
Oops.
see how different we are, like,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. I could almost picture that moment. It must.
Yeah.
Were you going out to the same place, or you just like bump into each other?
Yeah, exactly. And also, for example, I have never ever had like a group of friends. It's always
Uh,
like two or three people maximum. And when her friends arrived, they were like 10 people. you know and I was like, who are these people? Like, what are
too
they doing
many.
here?
There are too
Yeah.
many.
Yeah. And I honestly felt stressed because there were a lot of people.
Uh,
That's not my environment.
okay. Uh, mm, was there a time in which you had like the same bestie, or that never happened?
It happened once when we were in
Oh.
fifth grade. We were in a very, very small school, and we were in the same classroom. And in that classroom, there were like six girls, my sister, my friend, two other girls, and I, uh, we became like best friends with that girl. Her name is Adriana.
Okay.
And I mean, we were like the three together, you know? And it was very nice, but it was the only time.
Oh, and what happened? How did you guys split?
We changed to another school, so we never
Oh,
saw her.
boo.
um,
Oh,
don't worry.
sorry to hear that.
When we were kids, we changed a lot, so that was pretty normal. That's all right.
Okay. Alrighty. So, Eric, I know that, well, you mentioned that the age gap between you and your sister is quite wide, but was there an occasion or did it come to happen that you probably had friends in common?
It happened. Um, you know, it's a 6 year gap, but a couple of my friends were, I don't know, like 2 years younger than me. No, I mean, when I was in the university and later. No, I had
Uh-huh.
a couple of friends who were 2 or 3 years younger than me. So those friends were the ones that also became her friends. So we had these friends in common.
Okay.
When we were children, that wasn't going to happen.
That,
No, but
totally.
yeah, as adults, yeah, and actually nowadays we still have, I think, two friends in common.
Do you guys hang out?
Occasionally, occasionally, yeah.
What do you guys like to do when you hang out?
Um, I mean, the pandemic and everything has made everything hard.
Ugh,
But the last time we went to have pizza and beer at a restaurant
oof.
together.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was.
Ah!
I have a
Alrighty.
question. I don't know if I can ask it.
Of, of course. Of course,
All
of
right.
course.
So, for example, I never had an old brother, like a man. But I
Yeah.
think that there is always like this experience where your old brother becomes like a role model, like maybe when you're a kid and you have an older brother or sister, you want to be like her or him. So did that happen to you? Like, I mean, not to you, but to your sister?
Mm.
Yes and no. Um, I mean, she has even told me, like there are some things that she always wanted to copy from me, to do for me. But then again, there were some things that she said that just from looking at what I did and everything, she would never do them, you know? So like 50-50, I guess. Like a role model to follow and a role model not to follow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, that makes sense. Now that I think of it, I think it's a very healthy thing to do. And what
Yeah.
about your case, Carmen? Is your little bro look up to you guys, or he's too
I
young to know that?
I think he does, but I
Oh,
honestly think he looks at me more than my sister. But I honestly don't think that's a good idea. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I look at myself, like my life, and I mean, it's good. I'm not going to complain here. But there are a couple of things that I lived that I don't want him to live. So it's like whenever I can, I also keep a lot my distance with him because I don't want to. I don't want him to be like me, you know. I don't know. I think that may sound like very dramatic, but it is the way it is, you know. Like yeah, I can see it, and I tried like to protect him from that, and
Okay.
that's it.
Wow. And isn't that ironic that you mentioned that your sister is actually more patient with him and probably spends more time with him, but he looks up to you?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Wow.
I mean, he's like very,
Ah!
very strange, you know, because my mom always, for example, my sister and I draw, but my drawings are pretty, or they used to be when I was younger, like very creepy. You know, I used to draw a lot of skulls, you know, and dead people and blood and things like that. And I have some of them in my mom's walls, you know? I mean, the ones that are not so creepy. So sometimes we say my brother, we tell my brother, like, okay, which ones do you like? And he always chooses mine, you know? The ones that are with black and white, and the ones that have like people who look dead, you know, with skulls and maybe the dark colors, things like that. And that is like very strange, you know, like, and he's, I don't know, right now, I think it's okay, but because he's only a kid, but he is always talking about like, you know, like, ah, yeah, I like the death, you know, and things like that. And it's like, where did he get exactly. And I mean, my mom always like looks at me, you know, and it's like, that's on you. And that's it.
Well, you said it yourself. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. My dear Eric, is there anything that you would recommend, given the fact that you have more experience of being the older brother or being the guy in charge of the siblings? Is there anything that you would recommend to our viewers that probably are happening are going through the same thing?
Okay. Um, to the ones who have older brothers, just as my
Um,
sister said, learn from your older siblings' mistakes.
okay.
Okay, so you can avoid them. You don't do them. They make them, and then you don't repeat them. And if you are the oldest brother, just be nice to them. You know, just be nice to them. Treat them well, because I used to bully my sister a lot when we were kids, and I kind of feel bad about it. So just be nice. Be there for each other. You know,
Okay.
when you grow up and you get older, those are the people that you can really count on. You know.
Right. And Carmen, is there anything that you would recommend for someone from our viewers that are practically in their adult age that have a very, very young brother or sister?
Um, I don't know. I think like Eric's recommendation really like touched my heart. You know, because I honestly, I mean, I love my brother, you know, because he's my little brother and I love him very much. But I am not very nice to him. So I will tell people to follow Eric's recommendation, you know, and be nice to your siblings. I'm going to try to do it myself because I don't know, like I love him, but sometimes it's like you have to let know people that you love them, even if they are your family. You know, that's
Okay.
not for sure. So I'm gonna try to do that.
Guys, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Thank you so much for your recommendations. And thank you so much for taking your time to be here at the Let's Talk show. Looking forward to have you for in future shows, talking about more topics because with you, I always have very interesting conversations. So give yourself a pat in the back. Yay! Fist bump.
Yeah, let's go.
Very good.
Oh, very good, guys. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for our viewers for tuning in. Eric Rios was our guest, and also in the controls, Carmen Garcia, our other guest. I am Mike Reese, your host, and without further ado, I must bid you adieu. Goodbye, mwah, and good night.